Parasha אחרי is kedushim tafshin pegimo. In a parasha like this, which is the parasha we learn on Yom Kippur, we're starting about the beginning of Parasha אחרי, there's an interesting question that comes up. Why are we learning Davke in Mincha of Yom Kippur the story of Nadav v'Avihu? Let me enhance the question a little bit so we can understand the entire picture. We have fasted already since the night before. We were through the morning, we had the fourth davening. The davening where the judgment starts to get very severe. The dinim come up. It would have made sense to learn the Pasha of the Akedah to have some schus. But instead, we're learning the Pasha of Nadav v'Avihu, who basically, apparently, made a mistake. Is the idea to tell me that despite the mistakes you have made, or don't make mistakes, otherwise you're going to be punished, look how they've been punished? Is that the way, is that the essence of Yom Kippur? The essence of Yom Kippur is kapara. Elamai. The Pasha of Acharei, the Pasha of Nadav v'Avihu, somehow has the gift to provide kapara to all Bnei Israel till Mashiach. They were super kedoshim. They were on a level we can't even imagine. And we're going to have to analyze a little bit of who they are and understand. Because honestly, I have a different question now. Chazal tell us, Rashi included, that what was the scene? They walked in the Mishkan, in the Kodesh HaKodashim, the most sanctified place. They were drunk. I mean, come on. Who gets drunk already when you look at tzaddikim today? Which tzaddik you would see him one day losing control or over drinking? None. We're talking in the Doira Midbar, the biggest Doira we ever had, and we will never have until Mashiach. Now you're telling me they were drunk. Not only, okay, that's already, you're not allowed to go into the Mishkan drunk before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is irrespectable. So, but what do? They bring Ketores. Ketores are supposed to be brought down, to be brought to the Mizbeach in the morning and in the afternoon. And in the Kodesh HaKodashim, once a year on Yom Kippur. What's the message? Oh, now see the Yom Kippur, but it was a mistake. Only their father, the Kohen Gadol, was allowed to go into the Beis HaMikdash in Yom Kippur. The Safra says, it's the Brisa Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol, that when they were walking when was that? After Matan Torah. They were walking behind Moshe and Aaron, and they said, hey, when are these two going to die? We're going to bury him so we can be in charge of Am Yisrael. Honestly, these are the characters that you bring me in Yom Kippur. Don't you think we have enough blemishes that we have to correct, that you have to bring me? So what is the message? I understand it's Achrei Mois now. You know, we're going to learn it in Yom Kippur. If you have the head, ask yourself these questions in Yom Kippur. But today, what is it for me there? What do I learn from this personally? Something that's going to enhance my life. What kind of effect is there here? Let's start the share. Let's go into the psukim and analyze what happened here. Vayikchu b'nei Aharon. Sorry, I'm the wrong one. This is in Parashat Achare Mois. So it's basically a repetition of what we have seen in Parashat Shemini, but in a different language, and a language that's going to teach us plenty. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe. Hashem told Moshe, Achare Mois. Okay, we need to know when did this happen, because we don't see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaks to Moshe. Just to situate you in time, we are holding still in the 8th day, meaning there were 7 days of inauguration of the Mishkan, in which all the Kohanim were inside the Mishkan and were not allowed to leave. And on the 8th day, this is when we're starting. So during the 7th day, they were training how to do korbanos, reviewing the halachas, and so forth, and they had to sleep there. And on the 8th day, real work starts. So what starts? Bringing the korbanos. First day of operation in the Mishkan. Nadav Avihu don't have a better idea to go there drunk. But didn't I just say they couldn't go out for 7 days? This is the 8th day. So where did they get the wine from? Shesuye yayin. They were drunk from wine. Doesn't say in the Torah someone brought wine there. So how did they get drunk? That's a question of the Zoya we'll see later. By Daber Hashem el Moshe, we're going to see how the Shlach Kodesh says, when did this happen? But now let's focus on Nadav Avihu. Achare Mois Shenei Bnei Aharon. After the death of the 2 sons of Aharon. Every time he's going to call them, he's going to refer them Bnei Aharon. Like we do not know they are the Bnei Aharon. These are the only sons that every time their name are mentioned, always say, now, Shenei Bnei Aharon, in case you think it's 3 or it's 1. So it's 2. So it's not Nadav Avihu. Like we just had Pasha Shemini before, so we know. No, Shnei Bnei Aharon. What did they do wrong? Bekorvasam. This is the lashon of korban. What would I say? They presented themselves as a korban. They made themselves available as a korban. They made themselves a korban. All this is the right meaning. Bekorvasam lifnei Hashem, before Hashem, vayamus, and they died. Okay, so that's the resume of, in one pasuk, of what happened. Let's take it from the source in Parashat Shmini. Vayikhu b'nei Aharon. And the b'nei Aharon, don't get bored, it's going to be like this. No, I'm sorry, I was wrong, because it says here, when they died, he didn't repeat the name. Vayikhu b'nei Aharon, Nadav v'Avihu. Here we go. Ish machtasoi. Each one has taken his own ladder. Vayitnu bahen esh. So I keep the colors to match the question we're going to ask. Vayitnu bahen, and they put inside them esh, vayasimu aleha, and they put on it. I'm sorry, we're talking about ladders here. So who is it? On them. Should have been plural here. Vayakrivu lifnei Hashem eish zara. Now, it's not them anymore as a korban. No. They brought as a korban eish, a foreign fire. Asher lo tziva oisam. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't order them to bring. Pay attention. Vayasimu aleha ketoires. They put ketoires on it, her. To be exact, the translation is her. So we said before, according to the Midrash, and according also to the Zoya, that there was a sin bringing ketoires because it was not the time. No matter which time it was, we can only bring it in the morning, in the Mishkan, in the morning and in the afternoons, and inside the Kodesh HaKodashim, only Yom Kippur. But we don't see any mention in the Pasuk that HaKadosh Baruch Hu kind of connects the punishment to the fact that they brought ketoires at a time that was wrong. Vateitze esh milifnei Hashem, a fire came out from before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, vatoichal oisam, and ate them. Other language, vayamusu, and they died before Hashem. Mean they died, they were in the Mishkan. This time is vayamus. It's not plural anymore. It's not b'nei Aharon because they're dead. Vayamus nadav v'avihu, they died, and it's singular instead of being plural. Behakrivam esh zara, when they're approached. So we don't have a story here. We have all kind of every pasuk. This pasuk is in Parshas Bamidbar when it relates the story because they are still counted amongst the Bnei Aaron. Interestingly, amongst the Bnei Israel while they're dead. And it just relates the story. How did they die? Is behakrivam eish zara. Vayakrivu is past, mean they did it. The fact was completed. Behakrivam was while they were offering to Hashem eish zara. So we see here we don't have a clear story and we don't have an understanding who are these Nadav Avihu. The pasuk seems to describe them, and the midrashim kind of the Tanaim. You're talking Rabbi Eliezer Agadol, you're talking Rabbi Akiva Talmid, you're talking Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, and forgot the fourth one, constantly bringing up different, depending on the midrash, different aspect of the sin of Nadav Avihu, as they really have done something terrible. Some say because they didn't ask rishus to Moshe and Aaron while they were alive, that was coveting. Some say bringing the fire, they brought the fire, a foreign fire, not using this fire. Basically, we know the Tanaim, they're hiding everything in their words. We need to understand who we're dealing with. First of all, let's take it from the Ari HaKadosh, and you're going to see how we live it every day. Whatever I'm going to say, put it on Nadav Avihu, I'm going to describe our daily lives. And whatever I'm going to describe at the end of the day as the solution, it's going to pertain to everything we live every day. So now I'm just going to pretend I'm not talking for ourselves. We're talking only for Nadav Avihu. Nadav Avihu, when the Shekhinah appeared by Matan Torah, everybody but their head closed their eyes not to look into the Shekhinah. It's not kavodic to look in the upper queen. But them, they looked. And they looked well. They didn't want to close their eyes. Hashem said, the Midrash said at that point, Hashem said that now it's a Zman of Simcha, but you will get your punishment later for looking at the Malka, for looking at the Shekhinah. Interesting. Elazar, Isamar closed their eyes. Aaron, Moshe Rabbeinu. Nadav Avihu, so we see it's a kind of a character that we're dealing with here. It's not a one-time occurrence that they have done something special. Dari HaKodesh says that Elazar and Isamar were in a higher madrega than Nadav Avihu. And in truth, even though the Zoya says that white says Nadav Va'avihu, then he missing a vav. Ve'elazar, he should have said. No, he breaks. Elazar ve'isamar. Nadav Va'avihu. Nadav was worth, or put it that way, a simple way. Nadav Va'avihu, says the Zoya, they were worth like the whole Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin, the first Sanhedrin of the Bnei Israel, Nadav was worth like all of them, and Avihu was worth just as much as all of them. And the same way, Nadav was worth like his three brothers. Avihu was worth like Elazar and Isamar. So he was less than Nadav, but he was. But Dari HaKodesh said that Elazar and Isamar, they come from a place higher even than the neshama of Moshe and Aaron. That's the highest neshamas that have ever came down to this world. Put it that way. In that case, how is it possible that Nadav Avihu will deserve? Yes, Elazar had Pinchas Eliyahu Hanavi all the time, the Geula Shleima. Okay, it's going to go through that path. But at the end of the day, the one who come to help us on Yom Kippur, it's not Elazar and Isamar, it's not Nadav Avihu. Yitzchak Avinu, we learn it in the morning. But the morning is chasadim, it's already the good time. It's not, there's no din, strong din. But as soon as comes mincha time, the dinim are becoming very tough. Now, there's no more leeway. We're not going to look at, you want to start doing your tshuva now. No, it's going to have to be real. The closer we get to the Ne'ilah and everything, you better be for real at that point. What kind of power they have? They're less than neshama. They're less than neshama than Moshe and Aaron. But the pasuk says, Moshe told Aaron that it's Pasha Shmini. I'm going to show you the pasuk because I know the pasuk, not that many people know it. Bikroivai Ekadesh. with those close to me, I will enhance my kedusha. And with this, I will be honored by the people. Moshe Rabbeinu says to Aaron, I'm touching it with the Midrash Rabbah here. I thought it would be you and I that would die on the day of the inauguration of the Mishkan. But I see that your two sons are more valuable to the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu than you and I. Wow, what a statement. We're coming from drunk people going into the Kodesh HaKodashim. We don't understand anything about this whole story. We don't know where they get wines from and so forth. And now we find out a clear pasuk that Chazal say they're higher than Moshe and Aaron. But the Ariya Kodesh said that Neshama is lower than Moshe and Aaron, is lower than Elazar and Isamar. How can they be bigger? We usually quantify things by in this world by saying, oh, you're not as good and you're not as a good learner as I am, so I'm more valuable than you. That's the position in this world, how we quantify and value things. I'm frumer than you, then therefore I'm more valuable than you. I do more chumras on Pesach and everything, so obviously I'm getting a lot more and I deserve a lot more than you. Really? We have a clear example here. Nadav Avihu, they were not the ayayay in the family. They were actually the lowest neshamas in the family. And despite that, and not only this, they are the one that are going to deserve which schus, which lasts forever until Mashiach. Wow. What's hidden in here that we don't see? Where is the elephant in the room? There must be something gigantic here that we don't see. How can there be? And after that, we'll analyze what is that meaning? What is value in this world versus value to Hashem? Because the true value, you eat what you want when you're in a restaurant, right? While you're sitting, you can order anything you want. No one's going to tell you nothing. However, when you get up, you got to pay. So now it's important for us to know what is true value and how can we access true value, even though in the eyes of people, there is a different scale in order to measure value. Because at the end of the day, there's only one thing for sure, that we're going to meet our fate and we're going to have to be before HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the Yom Adin and explaining our, try to find excuses for our actions. That's the only assurance we have. In that case, we better understand what is important to the eyes of Hashem. Despite the fact that so many Chazal said that they have seen, yes, they brought Ketores at the wrong time. You say they came in with wine, they were shikar, and it's also to be shikar, disrespectful, right? What it says in the pasuk, the reason, but none of these reasons are mentioned. Oh, they brought external fire, right? It's mentioned in the pasuk, yeah. But the reason of the punishment is asher lo yitziva oisam. None of these sins are mentioned. Nothing. The only thing that's mentioned is HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't order it. And since HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't order it, they had no reason to do it. Here lies, in those 4 words, the key of the whole shir. So I want to take it now from the beginning to drive you and explain you, because it's going to be at some moments quite deep. You're welcome to open your microphone and tell me to repeat or what you don't understand, because it's touching us so much in our private lives. Every instant and second, especially the voice back there that's telling us all the time, try to break us, try to tell you you're worthless. You don't know. Instead of using your energy and effort and your eyes in the dust to look at the path before you and let those voices on the side, feel sorry for them. That's all you can do for them. Feel sorry for them. But you are razor focus. This is the scale by which they measure in Shamayim. This is true value. I'm attaching myself to true value. The rest has no interest. I have no interest. The guys on the side gonna say, you don't shackle yourself enough on Yom Kippur, and you didn't move your hands, which is also during Shemoneh Esrei, but today becomes a fancy thing. You have people, all kind of faces. All this is leitzanos. It's mamish so disrespectful to Hashem that in halacha it's brought down. It's also to gesture, and the Ariya Kodesh says the only right we have to shackle a little bit during Shemoneh Esrei is because the letters of the Torah contain fire, so it's burning inside the person and he cannot stand still. Otherwise, the right way is to stand still. But it doesn't look good. All the others are moving. I'm looking like a conservadox or whatever. Halacha tells you. All this micmac and masquerade and circus, don't be part of it. That's the scale, that's the value of the wrong people, and they will meet their fate. Sheker doesn't go up, stays down. Emes is what goes up. Oh, which word did I say? Emes. That's the word they attach themselves to, not of a view to perform what was never and will never be performed anymore on this earth. Okay, let's change world now. Now we're going higher. The Zohar HaKadosh tells us, Nadav Avihu didn't even talk to each other. Didn't even know the other one is going to do exactly what this one's doing. Nadav was the ruach of Adam HaRishon, and Avihu was the nefesh of Adam HaRishon. What's happening here? Story we spoke about already. But the question is, Avram was the nefesh of Adam HaRishon, corrected it. Yitzchak was the ruach of Adam HaRishon, corrected it. Yaakov was the neshama of Adam HaRishon, corrected it. Adam HaRishon is back to his original and nothing, no defects. So why is Nadav the ruach of Adam HaRishon, Avihu the nefesh of Adam HaRishon? They've been corrected already. Says the Zoya, Adam HaRishon has been corrected. His actions, the effect of his actions were still felt, and we still feel them till today. He's been disconnected, like when a person makes tshuva, but not fully. It's not the tshuva where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is erasing. Remember the midah of Venake, we spoke about it? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is erasing the sin. Here, no, he's been disconnected from the sin. So he's whole, but we are left with the effect of those sins. So now What did they want to do? Not of our view. They don't want to confront the recipient of those sins, where they're hiding, and correct them. The Zoya says something which is totally mind-boggling. He goes back to Noach and tells us, Noach, when he came down from the Teva, first thing he's done was bring some offerings to Hashem, and Hashem accepted them. Second thing he does, he plants a vine. What's in the same pasuk, the next word? He already presses his wine. But one second. You just planted it. Okay. You presses, then he gets drunk. Have you ever seen someone getting drunk from grape juice, yo? I have never seen. And I bet you no one in this world has ever seen someone getting drunk out of grape juice. But Noach get drunk of grape juice. So not of our view. Then it says, Vayizgal, he rolled himself. Explain the Zoya, what he means he rolled himself. Vayizgal comes from the word Gilui Arayas, the very Arayas that we talk in Pasha Achare. He became tempted. What did he do? So the Zoya explains. He saw the destruction of the marble. He got hurt. He felt bad. So many lives. Something else may occur and so many lives will be lost. So what did he do? He went down into the Tehoim, all the way into the 7th level of the Gehinnom, and he caught the Nachash there, the wife of the Satan. He grabbed her and he says, I'm killing you. We are done with this. No more destruction, no more spilling blood in this world. She did what she did, and he turned like a, he was head over heads or head over heels. I don't know how to say it, but you understand me. Not of our view in parallel, we see that same wine, Shesuye Yain, that we don't know where it came from because no one left and no one came in the Mishkan. No one is allowed in the Mishkan. So where did they get that wine? They're bringing Eish Zara. So the Zoya says Eish Zara, and initially it says Isha Zara, foreign woman, and it is only a hey difference. And this is the same. If we look at let me look here. Where is it? Let's go a little bit. No, sorry. I don't know how to close this now. Share screen. Okay, so this is where we have the real story in Pasha Shemini. Vayikhu bnei Ahare. So this language, he should have said Vayikhu nadav aviu. So if he wants to tell me Vayikhu nadav aviu, he tells me I have something for you. This equals to 448. This is a very magic number. This 448 can be turned in so many aspects, but What did they take with them? 7 times. I'll put it by you. 7 times. Seven times, Yud Ke Vav Ke, the name in the Chochma, Kehye, the name in the Bina, Kava, the name in the Das. Chochma, Bina, Das that we have seen last week. Enough. So we know these midas are the 3 Yud Ke Vav Ke on top. The 3 names are why 7? Because there are 7 midas that control. So they wanted to rebuild the upper body. The upper body is made out of 7 limbs and the 3 upper one, 10 altogether. So the 7, so if you want to rebuild anything up there, you always start Zeh Shal Hashem from the bottom, which is the Malchus, and you start rebuilding. So they connected themselves, and we're going to see how they connected and what it means. With the names, so they combine the names of the Chochma, Bina, and Das. And they wanted to clear up any blemish that was done by the actions of Adam Arisha. And it says in the Pasuk, Vayikhu b'nei Aaron Nadav v'Avihu. Even though there's a lot more to say about this, I don't want to lose you just too much. I just want to bring you on a track, because at the end of the day, what's important is what's in your life today. You're not going to wait for Yom Kippur. Vayikhu b'nei Aaron Nadav v'Avihu ish machtasoi. What did they take? Ish machtasoi. What do you mean? Every man took his machtos. That's all. No, each one has taken his own. What are you telling me here? This equals to 1165. And this is where we're going to start seeing what they had in mind. What they had in mind in order, to bring to the, and this is going to clear up a lot of the air here already. This is 5 times what we call, okay, I got you used to this ad casa. This time I'm not explaining it. I'm just going to show it to you. You will understand it. 72 is this name. Ab. Ayin base chesed is 72. Yud K Vav K written like this. It's that either. And Casa, do I have it somewhere? Here it is. Aleph Hey Yud Hey. They took the entire name of the Bina and they catch the Gvura. The 5, we have 5 Gvuras going out of here. 5. And this, they go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then they go to the Yesod and the Yesod to the Malchus. There's 5 Chesed on one hand and 5 Gvura. The nasty side, here is the Choben Bes Hamikdash. Here is like Ba'omer when Reb Shimon Bar Yochai is Niftar. Hoid is a it's another story. One day, we'll be able to talk about this midah. But once you go down here, you have Elohim Acherim, the idols, the other gods, and here you have all Keneged the Malchus, all the Chitzonim, all the Klippos. So Nadav Avihu went through here and said, you know what? I'm going to catch the whole 9 yard here. So they all eat from the Gvuras. So they stop the Gvuras from providing sustenance from all these Klippos. And they took them all in a bag and they said, now with the Mishkan with us, are you going to tell me why they didn't run away? Because the Ketores. What did they put on it, Ketores? Not to do an offering. That's why the Pasuk doesn't blame them from bringing Ketores. The Ketores they brought, because it's a Sgula, Ketores come from the word Tikshar, to attach. So they attached the Satan, his wife, and all his machans together to bring them into the Mishkan on the Mizbeach to burn them. We'll see, how did they know that the Mizbeach can burn them? How did they know that was the solution? But this was the intention. Why? Because they wanted to correct. And exactly like Noach, but Noach fell. She charmed him, should I say? I cannot talk like this about a tzaddik, but just as to illustrate what happened, and Vayiska. And this is how Ham took birth. He became powerful. And if we analyze, let me go back there. What did Chazal say? They were shesuye yayin. They were drunk. They were drunk. I'll tell you what they were drunk of. Keser Elyon. They had such a fire for Hashem. That's why they looked at the Shekhinah. They were looking. So Noach saw the destruction of his generation. And therefore, he wanted, because of that, to stop the blood spilling and everything, destruction. He wanted to go after the Satan and the two Nachash. Okay, now you can see. However, here we have a different perspective with Nadav Avihu. They looked at the Shekhinah, because this equals also Ateres Bala, the crown of her husband. Who is the crown of her husband? The Shekhinah. Eshes Chayil, it's a famous pasuk in the Zoya, Ateres Bala. So they wanted to connect the Keser and the Malchus together, so there's no dissociation anymore. In other words, we know that we learned it in the Yud Ke Vav Ke. The three first letters are usually undissociable, like the Lulav, Esrog, Arava, always together, they're bounded together. The last Hey is the Esrog, it's movable. They wanted to make it one. They have seen the blemish. The actions of Adam Rishon has caused in the Shekhinah, and they decided to act. Do you think they didn't know it would cost them their lives? Oh, they did. They did big time. But they were ready. That's why the Pasuk is hinting us here. Bekar Vasam, when they offered themselves. Wow. So let's go down that path and understand how people that are not as great as the others have been able to achieve such a humongous task and deserve such a tremendous chus. Look at this. Shesuye. Okay, I could have copied it to give you. What am I looking for? 7:16. Here are two snakes. They're going from Kanos. They feel so bad about what the Shekhinah has to suffer. They want revenge at any cost, despite the fact they would leave their life in the Mishkan. Yayin equals 70. Soid. They went to the side of the Nachash and Nachash. They trapped them and they put Ketores on them. Ketores, the word Ketores is Tikshoyer in Hebrew. Ketores is Aramaic, says the Ariya Kodesh, says the Arizal, says the Shla Kodesh, says Rabbeinu Bachye, says the Rambam, is attaching, bounded them. Now you are in Malaro. What did they have in the ladder? Why did they take each one the ladder? And the greatness is they didn't even talk to each other. The Sephra says that they didn't even talk to, they did it on their own. They both went for it. Vayasimu bahem eish. Vayakrivu lifnei Hashem eish zara. Who's that? Foreign fire? What are you talking about, foreign fire here? Midas Adin. What feeds the clippers is when the din, the Midas Adin decided that someone has to be punished, hands over the punishment to these guys. These guys, when they punish the person, they deserve automatically all the loss, the sparkles of Kedusha that he lost through the sin, go to them. They took the Midas Adin. They says no more din here. Enough. Enough. It's tikkun hashalem. Exactly like it would happen at the time of Mashiach. There's no more midas adin. There's no more sin. There's no more waiting. There's no more temptation for a person to sin. Finished. The Mashiach coming. And I'm going to prove this in the letters, in the words of the Pasuk. Do I have it here? I don't remember. I can make a search on my document. But anyway, they wanted to bring a Midas Adin. But now we have to understand how they got the wine. We understand it was not a real wine, but we see that, we need to still understand who that power, that wine that we supposedly said, who brought it. That's the question I said of the Zohar in Pasha's Noach. He asked, who's the mechutzaf that dare bring wine to the Mishkan, to those guys? I should never talk like this about Kedusha Elyon, but to them to drink. And what kind of a chutzpah would be to drink? They understand that for 7 days they are embedded in the holiness of the Mishkan. How can they allow themselves to drink? The Zohar answers this question and answers us also about what happened, but the Zohar is in this one is it's in the Zohar Chadash. It's in the Zohar Chadash Parasha Parashas. Yeah. The Zohar there tell us a little story that when Adam Arishon was thrown out of the Gan Eden, you won't believe it, but this is what the Zohar says. Behind him started walking a vine. And this vine was a magic vine, a vine from the Gan Eden, going after him. And when Noach did the teva, the vine came in, walked all the way into the teva. Because you can have a question. He doesn't say to Noach he was also to bring wine inside the teva. So he probably had wine. So what did he want to get wine from this vine instead of wine from, but this vine, it's called, let me give you this. Chazal call it Geffen garusha. Okay, I mean the Geffen that was garusha means not thrown out, but not excommunicated, but thrown out of the Gan Eden. There was a particular Geffen, huh?
Divorced.
No, divorce here wouldn't be the right word, but yeah, I understand. But you goresh someone is an action in Hebrew that you are pushing him away, pushed away.
Expelled.
What?
Expelled.
Expelled is the right word. Garusha is expelled. So what's in this name here? What's the faculties of that, and what's the powers of you planted the same day, you have grapes, that same day, that wine, instead of growing grape juice, it's wine, but it's a special wine. The Zohar goes about the special one. It's a bitter one. It's which turned the person upside down. It's bad. It's bad. Why would he have the power to walk? I can give a whole shir about this vine and what he does and how he does it to the body, how he turns a person. Obviously, we're not talking about a physical vine, but when a person does a sin, that sin follows him. When he repeats it, basically is like someone that presses the grapes of his vine, because now he said, I have done something. And that something is something I want to repeat. I like, just like a person like usually a man, the wine, that person, when he repeats it over and over, he gets drunk of his wine. He loses control, meaning that he can't even make tshuva because he doesn't have his mind anymore. And he does crazy things. So in this Geffen garusha, we start seeing already you know, a lot of what happens to us. We all have a Geffen garusha. And please God that if we have only one, that would be fantastic. So this equals to 647. And what it does, and this is where Nadav Avihu saw the disaster that's going to happen generation after generation. A person, by seeing someone, what do they do today, the politician? They repeat you crazy things, the most craziest idea. But you don't realize that every time they utter things like this, it affects the person. And after they repeat it more and more time, it's almost acceptable. Some terms are almost acceptable, as disgusting as they are. The new one now is, there's no such a thing as my child. A child. Yeah, we understand where they're going, these Illuminatis, you know, but the Torah works, you know, warns us about this thing to even close our ears. Before, last week we saw about the eyes being affected, now even the ears. Why? Because a person loses his yira. Once you see those people, it's not equal. I'm just gonna explain. By seeing people sinning and everything, a person gets affected, and it seems to him also, you know, it's more permissible. When you live in an area where people are more frum, you have tendency to follow. When you are in an area where people are more lenient, you have tendency to follow. So your yira is depending on what you hear and what you see. Now, this is what we're going to see here. If you take what's called the ribua, the square of it, Yud, Yud Resh, Aleph, Yud Resh, Aleph, Hey. This is the back. There are 4 sides to everything. Now you want to see how much you have left. I mean, do you have any even from the back? Geffen garusha cleans you up. Cleans you up from yira. Okay, you don't like that one. Let me go to another one. Yud, I'm spelling yira in full. Yud, Resh, Aleph, Hey. The front. Back and front. Cleaned up. Nothing left. No more yira. Do you understand why in this generation it's extremely hard to work? We need to work extremely hard to get Yira Shamayim. It's not, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, a person was connected to the upper worlds and could feel the Kedusha and feared out of it. So tremendous powers and Kedusha. Today, it's laughable. People laugh. People talking short. Some allow themselves to speak during Kaddish, which is the worst avera a person can do in this world. Even if he committed adultery, he's going to go to the 4th level of Gehenna. Okay, he's going to go first as a Gilgul. He's going to be grinded day after day in the grinder, you know, and so forth. But after that, he'll be cleansed by the 4th level of Gehenna, then the 3rd, the 2nd, 1st, and out, back to Gan Eden. However, someone who speaks during Kaddish goes to the 7th. And not only the 7th is like Maras HaMachpelah, is double, it has an 8. Where the acrobat is those who never come out. That's his place. Rabbeinu Bachye, not giving you crazy thing. Rabbeinu Bachye at the end of Parshas Zoya. Okay, Emek HaMelech, the Talmid of the Ari, which wrote in very simple words, Reshis Chochma, nothing elaborated, just plain. That's Hakadosh, how important it is. Now, I forgot to show you but it's the Ruach HaNefesh. I would rather finish on a note that we understand then, because I took the whole shir on this tract. Always, I'm very interested to understand always what does it do for us. So now we're coming to the end, and we look at the scale and we say, look, these guys at the end of the day, they didn't have the powers of their brothers. Had maybe Elazar and Isamar approved it in the way I wrote it, come and help them, it would have worked. It would have worked. But they didn't come here to do they went as they're feeling they were burning. There was a gzera. What did they know they were dying? There was a gzera on Aaron HaKohen. After the ego, that his children should die. Chas v'shalom. Moshe Rabbeinu daven, half his children died. 2 out of the 4. But the 2, Bikroivai Ekadesh, the most important one. Who are the important one? And listen well to this, because this is a scale of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person is born with limited power, limited understanding. He's not understanding Torah like the Eloi next door to him. Everybody looks at the Eloi and praises him and so forth, and him Nebuch, he's a Nebuch. He has a hard head. Torah doesn't go in. However, he's using his potential fully. Raise his eyes to Hashem and say, Hashem, I'm very limited. I don't understand. I can't. But I'm going to say to you, you remember the story with Reb Levi Yitzchak Mibarditchov on Yom Kippur? He saw that night, he was davening, he was about tefillah, and he saw carts and carts and carts of black clouds coming toward. He knew the deen was very tough, very, very tough. And a few times, I mean, he didn't only repeat, but it reminds me now, the Baal Shem also had quite of a similar story. But let's take it from, because now I took it from Rabbi Yitzchak Mibarditchov. And all of a sudden, he sees clarity, everything open up, and there's a guy in the back of the show screaming. People don't even understand what he says. Yitzchak Mibarditchov doesn't understand what just happened. How can someone breaks the skies, and tip the scale when there's so many carts on it? Not him. He says even if it was with the Noam Elimelech, they were trying to push. Reb Zusha came to help to push those carts. They couldn't. Simple Jew in the back of the show. He couldn't read. All he was saying is, Hashem, I don't know how to read, but I know Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dal, Til, Hey, Waref, Tul, Vav. Hashem, I love you, and this is what I'm saying. Those words did more than Reb Levi Yitzchak, the Chusay Yagan Aleim, the Noam Elimelech HaKadosh, Reb Zusha. What we are today in this world, this is not the finality. is we are given something to deal with, something to accomplish the will of Hashem. It's got nothing to do. We are not that. That's not us. Hashem just programmed us, close a bit the brain and everything, so we can accomplish that mission. You have a program for that mission. You have a program for the other mission. All you have to look, what is my potential? What can I do with my potential? Hashem doesn't want anything. Don't do what the neighbor does, or don't do what someone else, kind of put as a, because these days people come with fancy things. They lost Hilches Tzedakah, they lost the notion of everything, and they come with the good because it makes you feel good. I'm sorry, it's not what's right is not what makes you feel good. Watch that in halacha. And according to this, I see my potential. If I can carry 10 pounds, I don't have to carry 10 pounds. Hashem will be very happy if I carry 10 pounds. If I carry 12 pounds, I'm an idiot. Because Hashem gave me the strength for 10. However, if I carry 5, then I'm an idiot because I'm not using my potential. Nadav Avihu, despite having a limited potential than their brothers, they decided to go all the way and attack the biggest powers in the world, because even if they did not finish and kill them, they diminished their power. It was a maaseh, an action, the action of the sin that provided power to the Satan. When they ate the fruit, the power of action of Nadav Avihu is also when it stops. Action cancels action. Whenever Nadav Avihu come up, the Satan says, we had an encounter with those guys, didn't end up too well. They're coming up, we taking off. You understand how the kapara happens? There's no one to prosecute anymore. Once we read the Pasha of Nadav Avihu, there's no one to prosecute. The Ariya Kodesh says, if someone is sad, and even on Shabbos, and he cries over the Misa of Nadav Avihu, he's getting a kapara. Now, I would like to finish on this note, because we say the Pasuk only complained about Asher lo yitziva Isam. You're right, it's somewhere, right? Here it is. I like space. So we said, Vayasimu aleh keteres. Hashem never blamed them for keteres. He blamed them. Asher lo yitziva Isam. What's hidden here? What did he blame them for? I mean, that you did not. This equals nefesh, ruach, neshama. They were nefesh ruach only, as the Zoya says, of Adam Arisha. And they had to act and cancel all the effects of the sin against that. But they went all the way, even for Neshama. And this is where HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, on this you were wrong. I gave you the power of Nefesh Ruach. Do your job, you have done your job. Now, the fact that they overdone it because of their anger toward the Satan and the blemish they created in the Shechina, it's not a sin. But Hashem tell them, I didn't really, it was not your mission. It was enough if you had accomplished that, but you are great. You're exceptional because you went all the way. So yes, a person is limited, but what happened at the end? It cost their lives. Vayamusu. They died. So we see from here, you know, and we can go, sorry, and with here, do you see? I forgot. With Ayala, with the tikkun of the Shechina. They took nefesh, ruach, neshama from Adam Arishon, and with that, when we call the Ayala is the Shechina. Ayeles Hashacha mizma le David, Ayala shelucha, you know, the Ayala Akdoisha. I'll explain you what it is. It's something very simple. Ayala, last week we saw that Chochma was the father and the daughter is the Malchus, the Shechina. That father and daughter have a special bond. And because Bechachma Yasad Eretz, the earth, the Malchus was created by the father. So when you take the name of Chesed, of Chachma, Yud K Vav K, and you're taking the inner letter, the inner letters are Ayala. So they wanted to go for Tikkun HaShalem. It was not their mission. They paid with their lives, but as a korban. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, the same way they inaugurated with korbanos, the Mishkan down there, and now you'll understand why it works until every Yom Kippur, with this korban, because they offered themselves for the right cause, the Mishkan up there, the Beis Hamikdash Shel Maila, which is the Mekor HaBrachos, the Mekor of the Kapara, the Mekor of all the goodness in the world, was inaugurated also with korbanos. And which are those korbanos? Nadav v'Avihu. You understand now that everything that happens in this world happened through the Beis Hamikdash HaElyon. Had the Beis Hamikdash HaElyon get fueled by Nadav v'Avihu. That's why the Satan, that's why his Nachash of wife, they're very scared on Yom Kippur in the afternoon to step up and come up because Nadav v'Avihu are here. That's the reason. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.